Hopefully I don't have to restart the laptop.
Well, these are probably gonna be all jacked up. Unless they weren't plugged in. Your audio, I mean. So your audio is probably gonna be all jacked up because it's not plugged in.
He said he discussed it. Just get her out. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Let him get, yeah, let's stay.
Okay. All right, Thames County Commissioner Court come to order. We got technical difficulties, we think.
You missing, Joe? On there.
We're all missing.
I'd see me.
It's a regular meeting, Commissioner Court on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023, 9:30 a.m. It's 9:34 a.m. Currently. We working? Okay. You all right? For the record, Mr. Gordon's not here. His brother passed away. Everybody's family. Mr. Gordon.
Also, some of you, older than I am, remember Ms. B, in top school, Ms. B passed. Her two funerals today, also Ms. Metcalf passed away. There's two families, but. I'll be thankful for the day. The opportunity we have come to discuss and consider things for Chambers County and its citizens. Just ask for your guidance and your leadership. Give us all the wisdom, whoever has a part in this, your wisdom. Make the decision that's best for the citizens. You've blessed us so greatly. We thank you for that. Especially just being with these plans. Give his mother, his family, Billy's family. Lost his love. You know that you're a great company. Guide us into life. Your service for you.
Amen.
Keep going to the pledges. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. Oh, that's your. That's all right. Okay, first one. All right, first agenda 1.1, citizen comments. Good to have Commissioner Combs back in the audience with us.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I wasn't gonna call you up right now anyway. I'm gonna let Mr. Wilson talk. Leonard J. Wilson, drainage north of the canal ditches. Mr. Wilson, you have 3 minutes. You reminded me downstairs that I married him 13 years ago, he said. He loved it, yeah. All right,
Giving honor to God and the men in the Commissioner Court, especially to Mr. Mike Tyson, Mark Tyson. He had a whole lot to do with, we got a basketball court in the community. And we have a lot of children that come by and play to stay out of trouble. And I'd like to thank the Commissioner Court to the county for putting up 2 extra stop signs in the community. But now, for me now, it's the drainage. The drainage, man, it's bad across the canal, real bad. And I suppose it's been like that over 50-something years. And I know y'all got the power though to move things if y'all can recognize that. I just wanted to share that with you. If it's all right with you, gotta leave this list here.
sure,
I'm done.
you're done. All right, thanks, sir. And we'll pass that on to Road and Bridge Department, 1106 Main Street is address. All right. Thanks. Okay, and Billy, you're waiting for the agenda item comes up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1.2, discuss and consider approval of proposal. Todd Finley and Associates to develop a 10-year capital improvement plan for Chambers County. Commissioner, we're gonna table it?
Yeah.
We're gonna table it? Okay. We're gonna table that. Anybody talk to y'all? Okay, we'll table it, bring it back next door. Got some more, got some issues, things that want to be addressed.
Yeah, they're gonna sit down with Natalie,
Okay, good.
clear up a couple things.
We haven't had a chance to do that, and look at it, the engineering firm hasn't.
Okay, then that's good. We'll just table it for next go. 2.1, discuss Kinder Justice Center complex financial analysis. Aaron, you can table it to next court, correct? So first 2 items on the court table.
Rock and roll.
I see BJ's here. Go down to economic development tourism. BJ, come on up. Boy. 5.3, discuss and consider approving IAH Transload 1 LLC tax abatement agreement. BJ.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. This is the agreement that represents all of the items that have been negotiated as part of the tax abatement agreement for the IAH Transload 1 LLC project in Cedar Port. Reflects all the items that have been negotiated and stipulated over the term. If you look at Section 5 under the payments associated with Chapter 381, illustrates the 50% tax abatement. Also, the community impact program contribution that was recently increased and changed. And then also the school equalization tax pilot, which separates that portion of the tax from the county. So essentially, this is simply the agreement that embodies everything that's been approved by the court.
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Dagley, second by Commissioner Tynes. Question?
BJ, just in the future, is there a way we can get the schedules for these whenever we put them in the packet? I know we have them on like when they're presented, but the final schedule after the negotiation, just a spreadsheet with the projected split. It
Sure.
wasn't, it wasn't in this packet. It would be helpful.
Very good. Yeah,
If
we
you
can
don't
put
mind.
that as an exhibit. We've done that in the past.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
We'll do that.
Thank you, Ben.
I had to go back and look at the last one and they're just going a lot back and forth. So,
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hear none, those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5 points. No voting.
No.
Don't forget how to vote.
I didn't,
Didn't vote.
no, I mean, I did, I'm the only one that voted.
Yeah. Lauren. The last time you popped it up here, Tammy. Nothing popped up.
I'll teach a class later.
Would you?
Did you select that you were voting member?
Gotta go back there.
Billy, aren't you glad you're town?
Yeah, y'all got fancy after all that, did.
I don't know if we got any more efficient though.
This is only the second time. You said,
You might know the youngster up there is the only one that can do it.
oh, yeah, you got that right.
So let's still get one more vote. Name and vote, or we still need one vote?
We have one vote.
So is it gonna pop up again?
The yellow.
There.
I mean.
You get voted? Okay.
About that.
5.4, discuss, consider order rescinding the NPH Market Street LLC project for 2020. Big J.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. This is another action associated with requirements that are now made by the Comptroller's Office and the Appraisal District to clean up idle or canceled reinvestment zones, particularly related to projects that are no longer going forward. As noted in the order on August 11th, 2020, the court established the reinvestment zone and because it met the criteria associated with developing and increasing value in the county, the project is no longer viable and it's been canceled. And since that is the case, that the current status of the project requires that the reinvestment zone be rescinded. So this is essentially the order that speaks to rescinding the designation of the NPH Market Street LLC Project Courts 2020 reinvestment zone.
Second.
By Commissioner Dagley, second by Commissioner Hammond. Questions, comments? Those in favor? Mark, what's your trying to go?
Your Honor. I've got Will Smith up there.
There, did they get to it from the email you sent yesterday? I think, did they get to it from the email you sent yesterday, or do you want them to click something?
No, it's on that. Fine. All right, so everyone voted and passed unanimous. 5.5. Discuss and consider Enterprise Products Operating LLC. Economic Development Agreement, Economic Development Transfer Agreement, EDTA with Bakertown Area, West Chambers County Economic Development Foundation. BJ.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. This is these two agreements associated with the incentivization for project track 14 that Enterprises put forth a proposal for, but also to effectuate the transfer and sale of McLeod Park. It requires two agreements, one between the county and Enterprise and one between the Enterprise and the foundation. And essentially the county Enterprise Products and the EDF will utilize two Chapter 381 agreements and allowed in Section 272.01B, Item 4 of the Texas Local Government Code to effectuate the sale and transfer. And I will give you a narrative so that you can put that in the notes. The LGC or Section 272 permits counties and municipalities to convey land in a way that's tied to an independent foundation. The independent foundation in this case is the EDF. Is very similar to the structure that was used to effectuate the land transfer for Enterprise's facility on 3180 in the city of Mount Bellevue back in 2013. Essentially, the transaction with respect to sale, monies associated with the appraised value of McLeod Park, those monies will go directly to the county from Enterprise. The residual or grant, if you will, of an additional $5 million will come through the foundation and back to the county as part of the transaction. The EDF is simply a conduit entity to facilitate the sale. And so what's presented today is to approve the two agreements. There is a third agreement that's alluded to in the Chapter 381 agreement that actually is the abatement agreement for Track 14 and DIB 3, which is going to be presented to the court either next session or the one through. But it's prudent today to take action on the next agenda item to allow for the 30-day notice that's required under Chapter 312 for that tax abatement agreement. It's a word salad, but there's a method to the madness.
So I mean, I know we've been working on this a long time.
2017.
So the sale amount, the park, and then is 9.6 or 5.
It's the appraised value is 4.5, and Enterprise Products is making a contribution for the enhancement of amenities and new parks and
The
like
total amount is
9.5 million.
9.5. That's
Right.
what I was asking. I thought so, but I couldn't remember. Sure.
So moved.
Second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Dagley. Question? So the motion is, I see Danny looking at me. Motion is actually what it says in the on the agenda. To approve the Enterprise Products Operating LLC economic development.
Yes,
That's what the motion actually is.
and the
And that
agreement.
is your motion second, right?
Yes.
All right. Any questions, comments, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 5.6, discuss and consider scheduling a public hearing April 25th, 2023, 10 a.m. regarding the Track 14 DIB 3, Chapter 312 tax abatement agreement. BJ.
Thank you, Judge. This and Commissioners, this is the agreement that essentially is going to embody the abatement for these two projects, as well as any negotiated pilots, the CIPC changes, and any other issues that need to be addressed as part of the agreement.
So moved.
Second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Dagley. Questions? Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody get it, buddy. 5.7, discuss and consider resolution terminating Enterprise Products Operating LLC PDH 3 tax abatement agreement.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. This agreement is an agreement that's part of a slate of agreements that were approved pre-COVID. The court approved this agreement and then came back and approved an amendment with dates TBD to keep the agreements alive. However, because it's part of these requirements and cleanup associated with the comptroller and the appraisal district, it's prudent to go ahead and actually terminate the agreement. And if in fact the project reemerges, it's simply going to be presented to the court for consideration to new project. So what you have here is a resolution that terminates the agreement as was approved back per the recitals on the cover 2019 to 2020.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Ty. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.8, discuss consider resolution terminating the Enterprise Products Operating LLC ISOM tax abatement agreement. BJ.
Yes, Judge, Commissioner, this is another project that was part of that slate of approved agreements, and the conditions are the same.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Ty. Any questions on that? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. BJ, you cover all yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, DJ.
Thank you.
BJ, real quick, when was all the language about for that tax abatement or?
Hopefully in the next week or so. The back and forth, and actually, I probably need to get with you and Commissioner Dagley about, some issues that, because of you're have been designated as the, I guess, de facto negotiators, if you will, for incentives and the like. And so there are some particulars that need to be invited, not only for this one, but the One Oak agreement and Target as well.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
All right, back to 5.1. Robbie, you out there? Discuss consider procurement of professional services for the GLO CDBG hazard mitigation planning program. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we're just asking for your permission to go out for bid so that we can get the next step in this project taken care of.
Go out for RFQ for professional service. And
So moved.
First by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Ty. Wait,
Specifically, what services are you going out for?
This is a hazard mitigation plan program. So it's a company that'll come in and update that plan. It has to be done, I believe, every 5 years.
to be able to receive grant, we have to have the hazard mitigation plan in place. And okay.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie.
Guess I hit the same button.
All right, under road bridge 3.1, discuss consider approving amendment number 5 with TMP for right of way services amount of $2,750. I think
That out there, so. This is dealing with,
Good morning, Natalie.
Morning.
We're on 5 point,
is that dealing with,
3.1.
purchase of Elizabeth's track?
Yeah, so that is to have it appraised. And the purchase as well. It's the 5-foot strip that's on the north side of Elizabeth.
It's Elizabeth Dowling's 5-foot strip on the north side of the Kilgore right of way.
Mhm.
Right there below the storage units.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor? Opposed? One abstention. Commissioner Dagley. 3.2, discuss entering into memorandum of understanding with CenterPoint Energy Houston Electric LLC for the relocation of existing power poles in the county land that would be used for public right of way. Natalie.
So we've been working with CenterPoint to have their utilities moved over there by 3180. It kind of crosses through the Kilgore right of way. Originally, we thought that we owned a certain parcel of land. Turns out that we don't. So we've already went through the process to acquire that. Now that we have acquired that parcel, CenterPoint's legal team is a bit hesitant to just move those power lines without having this MOU, since it was purchased as land, not as right of way. So basically,
It's the 10-foot Bailey strip on the south side of Kilgore that was purchased by Mr. Bailey. And it was through the deed of the title company drew it up as just a purchase of land, and it should have been purchased of right of way. It should have been a right of way deed. And then Kilgore, the utilities will not go on fee property without an easement, but they will go in our right of way without an easement. So
this MOU gives them that.
it gives them the right to go into that piece of property.
Okay.
I got a question, Bob.
Hang on a minute. You want a second?
Yes, I said.
Motion by Commissioner Ty, second by Commissioner Dagley. Go ahead.
This is the agreement so they can move the poles. When they move the poles, are they gonna move them in a right of way? So if we do expand that road to 4 lanes, it's not, we don't have to do this again.
No, it's gonna be out of the way of the 4 lanes. Yes.
Okay, will be. It's gonna be.
Yes, sir. And not only that, once they put a pole in our right of way at this change, and say that for 20 years from now, you won't expand that to another 100 feet, they got to move them.
Okay.
Okay. No other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.3, discuss and consider Legends Bay Section 8, variance, excuse me, variance request from Legends Bay LLC. Commissioner Combs, you want 3 minutes now?
Sure. Why not? Don't start my time yet, Jay.
All right, now it's started.
For the record, I'm Billy Combs, live in Beach City. Thank you guys for being here today. No, I came today, my friend Earl, I've known him for many years, and his wife KK. He's kind of sick right now, and he came to me a couple months ago wondering why he needed to get a variance to put in Section 8 of Legends Bay subdivision when he's done 7 sections and didn't need a variance. So, I explained to him the rules had changed a little bit and started looking at it. And I went and visited with Road and Bridge, Bobby and Natalie. We talked about this last week, and I never really looked at it real close until then. And I started looking, and frankly, I don't know that he really should be here. But the fact that he is, it's one thing, but he's been sick. And so I'm here to speak on his behalf. And I just want to make sure you guys do the right thing. If you look in your package, I'm sure everybody read it very thoroughly. So you'll see that he was actually granted a variance by the court back in 2006, in March of 2006. And since that time, the court has upheld it and said that he would follow under the rules of Baytown since they were in the ETJ of Baytown, and has upheld it not just once, not just twice, but 7 times. The latest being in 21 when I was actually on the court too. And it didn't require variance. The court just approved the plats. But his whole plat, his master plan was approved back in 06. It was approved by the court. There's an email in there from Don Brandon stating that it had been approved. We don't have the actual documentation then. A lot of stuff has been lost. I think it's a no-brainer, but it is here, whether it's a variance or whether it's in the form of a grandfather. Either way, he's built 7 sections like this. It's the final and last section. Engineering is near complete on it. His engineer is here today if you got any questions for him. And I just want to go on to say that if you'll read that email from Don Brandon, you look down in some of the other stuff, you'll see that they put in landscaping easements and landscaping reserves that was not required by neither the county nor the city at that time, but they did it. They had floods in Legends Bay after Hurricane Harvey came through, and they scrapped and did a lot of stuff, everything could do to improve drainage. And I understand we're getting some monies in, maybe some grant money to work on drainage. So I hope we get Hackberry Gully cleaned out, for those citizens. But I am working with Earl on his commercial reserves, and as a part of that subdivision of plat, his detention is supposed to take care of the commercial reserves, but yet he's requiring the people putting in development on the commercial reserves to add additional detention just to protect against flooding. He's gone out of his way to make a decent subdivision there. It's near done. And I will add that this is the final one, and I think Earl's retiring after this, and it'll be his final project. So I hope y'all do the right thing and approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Natalie.
Yes.
Okay.
The difference, judges, they use 5-foot setbacks, not 10-foot setbacks.
Yeah, so this was, I guess you could say, driven by me. When we had the DRC meeting, I asked to see the documentation showing that the variance applied to the master plan subdivision. I did something similar with Southwind, so just trying to be consistent with the decisions I've been making lately. And I explained what the intent behind the requirement was, and I see both sides, and he has put in 7 sections. This is the last section. But the biggest concern is just the spacing and why the requirement is there, just to make sure that, there isn't a domino effect when these houses do catch on fire. I'm not too sure what material is being used to build these homes, if that's something to consider, but basically that's why the variance request is here, and the fire marshal is in the lobby if you'd like to comment.
I mean, it's systems.
Just, I think it's just,
Morning.
it's all the way back road.
Oh, no, I'm okay with the proposal as it was presented.
Variance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think there was, my opinion is there was not precedence, but there was information filed early on that I felt like legally. What am I trying to say?
We're not committed.
I'm sorry, I was talking to DA out there. No, I just lost my whole train of thought. I apologize. But anyway, since that master plan they followed originally, I felt like that gave them the,
That was
in my
approved.
opinion, yes, that they did receive approval from the county for that overall project. And I felt like that was the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
So where's section 8 at? Because I can't really tell.
Section at the far western portion.
It's on the north,
It's the farthest north section.
or the north,
It'll
on the,
actually open up on the Chambers Parkway.
it's on the northeast side.
It's that street that dead
Very
ends in the
north.
lodge one.
Right.
It's the
Okay.
it's
Kind
the
of
street
like
that dead ends in the lodge one.
right. Okay. Thought they was already building some of those.
So is the setbacks the same as section set, this as proposed, is the setbacks the same as all the previous sections? Okay.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being here, Billy.
Nice seeing you, Billy. Earl?
Thank you. And congratulations to y'all finally getting something going with Enterprise Fund.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say on being able to vote on the.
That too, Billy?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, bud. All right, 3.4, discuss, consider using Scott Stevens and Associates Incorporated Appraisal Services for Washington Avenue, amount of 2,500 annually.
So this is basically to have the portion of Washington Avenue and city limits appraised. So we can keep moving forward on acquiring that right of way for the Justice Center.
What TxDOT has an appraisal. Like theirs is based on maintenance, something, and it's a lot of money. So we're gonna have it appraised by Scott Stevens and Associates and come up with a value of the property itself. And hopefully they'll take that. And you know that this will go to the city. TxDOT will convey it to the city, and then the city, we will request from the city abandonment of that portion which we need for the new jail and justice center. And that's what it's all about.
Motion by Commissioner Tice. Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hammond. Any questions? Those in favor? Anybody want to vote for it? All right, motion carries, one extension. You got a vote line, I guess you don't, because it's up there.
Right.
And I can look up there, huh?
Trying to do two things at once.
Yeah.
Talk and click.
All right, I think we covered the first page. Parks and Recreation. Brian, you got something?
Not in a rush. I was just listening.
5-2 full.
Okay. It's 5-2.
Which
5-2?
way, Ray?
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush. There's one more thing.
Well, you're saying-
I'll just listen. I can't hear.
On
I got COVID here.
Safety Emergency Management, 10.1, it's got to consider the purchase of Ford F-150 from Caldwell County for the amount of $66,574.
Okay. Good.
Do they actually have a vehicle?
Do they have one? No, this will be, I don't know that really anyone's gonna have,
No, no.
what's the wait time, Quentin? A year or, I mean? Oh, 6 to 8 months minimum, okay. So this request was made after we had a major mechanical failure, one of them, which we did get fixed. And so the conversation was allowing that one to rotate in, since it's been repaired, rotate into checkout pool, and if some of those need to go out that need to be auctioned, and then we would have one that is outfitted properly, similar to the communications truck that Quentin and John recently outfitted, would give us what we needed to respond. So the ultimate goal here is we eventually want to end up with a spare vehicle under our department, so that when those repairs and things do happen, we have something that's outfitted that we can use, right, that independable, so that we're not relying on checking out pool cars that other people need to use, and that they don't have the radios and equipment and things in that we need. So that's our goal we're trying to get to.
Entertain a motion.
Judge.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Todd, second by Commissioner Hammond. Other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sorry, Judge.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Verbalize it.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
I remember I looked at there now.
I slept on you on that one. I voted on there.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. You're welcome.
Go ahead, Keith. Communication technology, 11.1. Discuss, consider approving City of Mont Bellevue to extend their MB Link fiber network to the Terrence County West Annex in the amount of $6,513.50.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. We've been working with the City of Mont Bellevue, Derek and I, for quite a while now on trying to get this done. Originally, what we were trying to do is get the fiber ran to the Mont Bellevue Tower, which is located behind the annex. But after looking at pricing and stuff, it was more feasible to actually get the fiber to the annex building. And from there, we already have a fiber in place between the annex building and our tower. And what this will do is basically, primarily, it's kind of kill two birds with one stone. Primarily, it's going to connect my radio network back to Harris County via fiber. Right now, we're connected an old T1 connection here at Dispatch, which is going away. It's old technology that the phone company is no longer supporting, and it's also a very expensive per month circuit to keep up. So we're trying to get rid of that circuit and fiber all the way back to the core, which is in Tomball. Second, it's going to bring the option of MB Link internet to the annex and which other building, Derek? The one they're going to build beside it soon. Be able to bring it into that new building as well. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
So moved.
Derek, you have any input?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, I need a second for you.
Second.
Look back to Mr. Hammond, second back to Mr. Dagny. Go ahead, Derek. You know.
Oh, I was just saying, Q hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, John, know they're running fiber, Frontier's running fiber and over. Of course, they cut my line from my house. While they're running their new line.
Yeah, so Trinity. So they did cut your line. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure they did that.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Q.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, 6.1, discuss, consider going out for RFPs for managing all county baseball fields for select rentals. Brandy, you taking this?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this is in regards to all the new baseball fields. We're gonna have, or looking at a company coming in and handling them, the rentals for select or anybody else that wants to come and use our facilities.
And this is pertaining to those folks we met with.
Yes, sir.
Not long ago.
Who was this company, Brandy?
I do not remember the name. The gentleman used to work with Mizuno, but they no longer.
So it wasn't a company, a commissioner, it was just someone that came in, yes, sir. Just an individual came in and gave an overall view of what it looks like to do something like this.
Yeah.
So there wasn't no company came to us
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, but
The RFP will help us do that.
Yeah, they'll help us figure out what's out there.
They were just trying to give us an example of how we could run the baseball fields.
And the only question I would have is, it says all county baseball fields. Are we talking about all mid, east and
Yeah.
west? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Thank you.
What all does managing incorporate? I know rentals and stuff, but is that also maintenance?
It'll depend on how the RFP goes out.
Okay.
It'll depend on what we put in the RFP, what we want them to come back with and what that
Yeah,
amount looks like.
We already have a company.
maintenance contract.
Yeah, we already have a company that handles the maintenance of all the ball fields. This is just basically to schedule and
This would be to coordinate select teams for weekend play. It's kind of what somebody to reach out and, yeah, coordinate with the little leagues while they're playing.
right.
And,
Run the
mainly for the
tournaments
select ball,
and run the tournaments.
run the tournaments, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we gotta see what's out there before we know how we're gonna go with it. So hopefully this will give us more than that.
Get both rolling, some of them.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Dagley. Any other questions? For the favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 6.2, discuss consider going out for RFPs, resurface and paint the tennis courts located on FM 3180, create a pickleball court. Mr. Hamlin wants to play pickleball.
Are you gonna play there? Cowboy boots?
I do not want to play pickleball. Let's clear that up.
I'm ready to take you on.
You want to take it, Randy?
How Brandy King, you got anything on that or?
I don't really know
That's
much
kind of
about
between me
that.
and Kurt,
That's,
so.
yeah.
And it says 3180, it's actually Eagle Drive, correct?
Yes.
Which I
Eagle
know
Drive.
is.
Correct. Eagle Drive. Make sure we have it right. Yeah.
Eagle Drive.
So it's the old Little Eagle Park on Eagle Drive. So it's actually where the old
Baseball.
original baseball field.
Original
was
baseball,
for high school.
10 acres school has there. Yes, sir.
So,
Original tennis courts and original baseball.
right. So, the tennis courts right now are kind of eyesore. I had a group over there come to me and wanting to turn that into pickleball court. So that would kind of give all that area a facelift and
Thirds of one stone, yeah.
yeah, whole bunch of advantages there. So,
Absolutely.
we got a big turnout. We got a lot of, actually talking to them, I didn't realize, but we have quite a few people coming from different areas. So
Aaron, do you
we play
pickleball?
tournaments.
No, sir. No. There's a lot of people playing there.
Yeah. Commissioner Dagley here.
It's
Pickleball pro.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
So we're looking at, hopefully One Oak is gonna fund that project, so. We're probably looking at about $140,000 somewhere in there to. That would redo the lights, resurface the tennis court, nets, all of that, so.
So we're going to go up for
RFP for somebody to give us, numbers on what it's gonna cost to do all that.
And I just logged into my Mont Bellevue pickleball group me. Okay, we have over 100 members, I want to say. So, but we have members coming from Beaumont, League City, Woodlands. We have groups coming all over to play pickleball in Mont Bellevue. It's 3 days a week and it's popular.
Good.
Yeah.
Is it similar to racquetball? I mean, I play racquetball.
It's like mini tennis.
Judge,
All right, motion by Commissioner Hammond,
Second.
second by Commissioner Dagley. That may be a conflict of interest that you play.
It's no conflict, sir.
All right.
Second.
I got a motion second. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. 6.3, discuss, consider approving park use agreement with First Baptist Church of Anawag. Easter egg hunt with road closures in the park on April 8th, 2023 at Fort Anawag Park, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Got any questions I can answer them.
Yes,
We did this last year. We handed out, or we scattered 3,000 eggs. We divided into kindergarten to third grade and then from second grade, then from third grade to fifth grade and turned them loose. And in 3 minutes, 3,000 eggs were picked up. And it's an all-day fair. And we had about 700 or 800 kids there last year.
so the road closures safety kids.
Yes, right.
And
Well, we will control parking. If everybody comes in on the north road, whatever road that is, and we have a parking area for them, and then we close all the other roads. And we will have access to the Legion Hall for emergency, any way we need it. And then Chambers Parkway will be not Chambers.
Motion back to Mr. Ty,
Second.
second back to Mr. Hammond. Mark cut you off, buddy.
You had me at hello, Bobby.
Those in favor?
Opposed?
Motion carries. Talk about it. Made some buildings, 7.1. Discuss and consider hiring typical construction for repair of roof. County Court at Law Building, amount of 16,500. Good morning.
So I gotta get the roof fixed over there. We've been dealing with the people we bought that building from. They're not gonna come out here and take care of anything. They say, we're past the warranty, so I need to get the roof fixed. Basically, when they set those trailers up, they actually installed the roof wrong. But anyway, I need to get it fixed, and 16.5 is my best number right now.
So move.
Second. Let's back to Mr. Hammond, second back to Mr. Ty. Question. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Aye. Those I opposed? No. I'm sorry. I pulled the Ryan. I'm reading them. Motion carried. 7.2, discuss and consider partial payment of retainage for Chambers County West Side Complex Packages 1 and 5. Application number 18, amount of $499,835, $833.45.
So this is for package 1 and 5, which is the road and bridge and the box site. And we need to reduce the retainage. The problem is that we're having a hard time getting the generators. The generators should be shipping in the next little while. They keep telling us they're going to ship, or they gave us dates that they were going to ship. We thought we were going to make the dates, and they pushed them back. But we're using the facility. We need to reduce their retainage, but we need to make sure that we have enough money to cover what we need to cover. So Lindsay and Mike have been working hard to try to figure out, hey, how much money do we need to keep of the retainage, and then release some of the retainage to them. And basically 7.2 and 7.3 are basically the same thing, just different jobs.
Right,
But-
so the recommendation from the auditor's office and maintenance is this.
Yes, now, not necessarily these numbers. We've been tweaking along. They might be pretty close to these numbers, but they might not be exactly these numbers. We've run into a few more things, looking it over, so it might be plus or minus a little bit.
Well, what we've been asked to prove today, is that specific number. Yeah, you don't have to give them that much, you don't.
These numbers? Okay, these numbers.
Okay. Entertained motion.
So move.
Second. Motion back to Mr. Hammond, second back to Mr. Dagley. Question?
So we'll still have 312,000. What this shows here.
We're holding all the values of the generators plus an additional on 7.2 package 1 and 5. We're holding an additional $30,000 in retainage. And the same for 7.3 package 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
We're holding the value of the generators plus an extra $10,000 in retainage.
Okay, other question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 7.3, discuss and consider partial payment of retainage. Chambers County West Complex Packages 2, 3, and 4. Application number 21, amount of $357,953.61. same scenario.
As explained, yes.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Ty. The questions, those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Health and welfare, 14.1. Discuss and consider approving the memorandum of understanding between Coastal Gateway Health Center, Inc. and Chambers County for citizens transportation services. This is Commissioner Gore's. Dwayne, do you know if legal had a chance to review this MOU? But Gore, pass the microphone, Dwayne, please. Thank you.
Your Honor, I am not sure. I think I would,
You want to table it since Commissioner's not here?
yes.
Laura, did he
you
say
do it.
anything? I hadn't talked to Commissioner. Let's table 14.1. We'd let Commissioner Gore know that. Bring it back when it's gonna be here. All right, law enforcement. 17.1, discuss and consider the purchase of dual purpose K9 from Alpha Pack K9, amount of 13,000 from forfeiture funds for use by the Chambers County Sheriff's Office. Good morning. Chief Lady.
Good morning. So our plan has always been to try and have one patrol dog available for each of the 4 patrol shifts. We had 4 at one time, but with the retirement and death of Yori, we're 1 short now. And the VA's office has graciously offered to purchase one for us from the same place that we got the other one that the Detweiler Foundation bought for us. So they're giving us a $2,000 grant, lowering the cost to $13,000, and we're going to take care of that for us.
Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Eric.
Morning.
Morning, Commissioners. The Sheriff's Department has been working extremely hard securing funds under Chapter 59 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. These funds benefit everyone in the county. The funds to purchase the dog are coming straight out of forfeiture funds. There will be no expense to the county. These are funds that are designated through Chapter 59 for these specific purposes. And I'll be glad to answer any questions about the forfeiture funds or about the purchase.
So this is DA for.
Yes, this is coming out of our forfeiture funds. We have local agreements with all the departments that determine how the forfeiture funds are allotted. And as I said, recently, the Sheriff's Department has been working extremely hard to secure these funds under Chapter 59. So we feel that it's only just that we accommodate them with their request for this purchase.
Well, that's all from us, you know.
Yes, sir. Helps everybody in the county.
An excuse to go shopping, Jake.
There you go. Entertained motion. Motion by Commissioner Hammond. Was that you? Motion by Commissioner Dash.
Either way. Second.
Second by Commissioner Hammond. Any questions?
No questions.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Just consider acceptance of NRA grant award in the amount of $4,534.56 for procurement of 9 handguns for the Chambers County deputies. Okay,
Yes, sir. So with the 9 additional deputies that y'all gave us last year, we issue handguns, so we were in need of some more handguns. So Captain Shelton decided to apply for an NRA grant to try and get funding for those weapons. And we were fully funded. So there's no match from the county. It's a 100% funded grant from the NRA to provide us with 9 Glock.
is that the best deal you can make?
Yeah, that was actually the best they offered.
Motion by Commissioner Tice.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hammond. No questions, those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Good job, Chief, by the way.
Yeah.
17.3, discuss
Like to-
consider approving interlocal cooperation agreement for jail services between Chambers County Sheriff's Office and Beauregard Parish, LA, Louisiana.
All right, so that is an agreement that we need to be able to ship some of our inmates to their facility. As y'all know, we've been overcrowded for some time and we're still working on the female facility. So the jail commission, in the past, we've tried not to transport further than 2 hours from our facility just because of the cost. But the jail commission has instructed us that we are to try and make agreements wherever we can make agreements. This is the closest place that we could find at a reasonable rate. So we're trying to get the agreement signed just so we can transport some of our excessive number of inmates over there and give us a little space so we can do maintenance on the facility.
We tried to build a jail in 2016, wasn't it, Aaron? So. Didn't get it done. We wouldn't be in this shape right now.
I'm hoping that 3 or 4 years from now, we won't be in it again. So
Hopefully. Right. All right, anything most back, Mr. Pat?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hammond.
How does this, oh, sorry. How does this per diem rate work out with the other agreements? Is all in line?
it's all in line. The costs are roughly the same regardless of where you send them. It's just the transportation costs that make the biggest amount of difference.
What, it would pay daily rate?
We pay a daily rate.
$60.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that is right at just a little over 2 hours. Travel time one way.
It's a little further, I believe, but not too bad.
Yeah, they're like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So we spend 300,000 a year.
We budgeted for 165, I believe, for out of county costs.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm sure it's in line with the other rates. So.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you
They're
typically,
the only place we have available to us. We usually use Galveston County, but they can't take our prisoners anymore. There's no one really that can.
Because they're full?
They're either full or they don't have the staff to handle the inmates.
so how many try to transport at a time? I mean, is there kind of get a number?
I think 10 or 12 is the
10 or
most
12
we've
at a time.
transported once, but we only have a van. We don't have anything larger than that to transport.
Right.
All right, get a motion second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Chief. Okay, consent. Let's start with precinct 3, 4. How about 4?
4's good.
3. Commissioner Hammond, you have anything?
I think I was. Good. Oh, I'm sorry, 1920, 1920.
Okay. 1920, full.
Discuss and consider payment for the body worn camera. Approval,
That's the one we pulled.
the 100. Yeah,
Yeah, it's on 5.2.
It's the same.
I think it's the same one. I think that might be a duplication.
Actually, I think it was a mistake on the Samantha's office thought that it was a payment that was part of the ARPA agreement for the cameras, but this is actually the second installment for the 5-year contract that y'all approved last year for us.
And it's budgeted in your budget.
Well, we requested it in capital during budget sessions, but we didn't receive any capital.
That's because it's in the section.
Well, on this one, I think we saw body worn, didn't realize it was for the yearly payment, we said ARPA. And I think got confused, so we were trying to let them pay it, but it didn't pay, and I think we were talking to Samantha about can we drop ARPA, and so we kind of forth about it,
So is there a reason why we can't use ARPA funds?
I didn't see why.
No, there's not, but the contract that we originally had was for $392,000 and some change. And we paid that in full out of the ARPA funds.
That was for the 8 additional systems that we requested out of ARPA funds. This payment here is, like I say, the second payment for the original 5-year contract when we outfitted the entire agency. Those 8 that we added on ARPA were for extra vehicles that we added into the fleet, which we'll have to do again at the end of this year, but we're trying to cover those amounts elsewise.
Okay.
So this was our required payment. It's not part of the ARPA That contract was paid in full.
Okay, so the invoice doesn't read like that at all.
No, and that's what caused the confusion is they weren't clear whether it was their payment or ours, even though I told them that they paid theirs in full. But it is the payment that's due for the original contract.
So we're gonna pull and bring it back for payment.
Okay.
I mean, I'm asking you.
We're 3 months delinquent now is the
Yeah, that's
problem.
why I was
They've
asking.
cut us off, which is, I mean, we've been working on this issue for a while, trying to get this thing paid and
Maybe we could approve pay the 19.2 and then if we can use ARPA, then we come back.
19.20.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
I'm fine with that. So
Right, so we will leave 19.20 in consent. Correct? We'll still pull 5.2.
yes, because that would be a,
So we'll
that
get
would
it
be a double
paid,
payment.
we'll figure out.
Yes, there's only one payment due.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Dagley, second by Mr. Ty. Hearing no questions, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We can go to executive session. On 20.1, discuss and consider personnel issues, and 20.2. Discuss and consider sale, purchase of real property. Would I have the FMLA to do? And 20.3, discuss and consider FMLA extension request. So at 10:32 a.m. we will recess to executive session at this time. All right, clerk can order after executive session. It's 12:29 PM. Let's go back to 19.6 payroll changes. And I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve payroll changes as presented in the motion to approve payroll. Let me rephrase it. Motion to approve payroll changes and to approve a payroll change for Lauren Vandeventer to the max posted HR pay scale to serve as interim HR director.
So we actually already approved the rest of them. So all you need to do is approve the
Motion. Wait.
motion to approve.
Just
And motion by Mr. Dagley, second by Mr. Tice. So you're changing Lauren to
the max pay scale that's posted
that position.
for that position in the interim.
You got it. I got a motion second. Any questions, comments? In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. No personnel issues. Discuss, consider sale. No, let's take FMLA 20.3 FMLA extension request.
I move to extend the two FMLA requests discussed in executive session.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 20.2 sale, purchase of real property.
Judge, motion to approve, appraisal of parcel 1, the Anahuac Library.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Hammond. For parcel 1, purchase of parcel 1, Anahuac Library. Questions?
No, sure.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carries. Do we have another one?
Yes. I move that we purchase the property from Mr. Edwin and Susan Bailey for the Kilgore Parkway extension.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I think that was it.
Yes.
All right, it is 12:31 PM. Court is adjourned. Commissioner Tice, go play golf.